It's December 14th, 2023. My name is Cari Palmer, and the world is about to get crazy. I am making a video because I need to and I'm supposed to, because you all think I'm crazy. And so I'm making a video not to dispel it. No, I'm here to prove it. I'm here to prove that I'm crazy. Oh man, my life has been the most magical, unbelievable, wild whirlwind roller coaster of anything on the planet. And I've lived it, and I live in bliss and happiness, and I giggle every day. And you can't imagine, because you all knew me at some point to where you couldn't go with me to where I was going, because that was your line in the sand. That was your crazy. I was going that way, and you reached that place. You couldn't go any further. And so I have had so many friends and relationships of friendships over these 7 years of my transformation from normal operating human to enlightened being who has just been ascended to her final level merely days ago. This is all happening right before my eyes, and it's all happening right before yours. Where do I even start? The biggest thing y'all humans need to really think about: words. Words. When you operate from a level of enlightenment, of awareness, it's like when you go back and forth, when you're aware of what's on the other side, the real side home before we incarnate here to do this earthly thing, over there, it's just love. It's just love. There are no words for love at that expression, at that level. There are none. And so we come here with our limited vocabularies and we create all new languages all the time. But when you operate from the space where you're more connected to your higher self and the other side than you are humans, there are no words to describe anything about it. So things like when I say words that are attached to something that triggers something in you based on where I have evolved to, it amazes me how, am I going to, yes, I'm going to say a word that came to me the other day, and this stuff comes to me usually in song, it comes to me in message. And so the word comes and I say the word loudly. And that's where I find where the friends where I'm right now, these friends, my ascended master friends, people who are the teachers, the healers of this planet, I have been brought through this vacuum, through this wormhole, because I said I am the man for the job and I'm willing to do it and I have no fear. I have been brought through this vacuum to teach these ascended masters, people who are teaching you, they are healing you. I'm here to teach them that they still have a few more steps they need to take. But when I say words like Messiah came to me, you think you're the Messiah? Oh, that's where we draw the line. A lot of messages came to me, but I didn't read any of them because guess what, guys? This is how it works. If somebody said something to you and you know where you are and they argued with you, you would just peacefully like back down, Batman, because you know where you are. And if you allow somebody down there to try and argue you down to their limitation, you go with them. I don't do that. So I cut you off. That's all I do. That's all I can do because I've been sucked through this vacuum to talk to you so you can understand. Oh my God, it's happening. So you can understand. You have steps to take and you have to take them because you are needed. You are needed on this planet now, and you have to stop arguing for your limitations. You see somebody, oh my God, it's not me, guys. You see somebody like Cari. Welcome to my world, people. I was going to talk about a whole lot more, but I know I have a message to give, and I've taken notes. I was going to read all these notes that I took. I was given notes all morning to read, and I think I'm still going to, but I think I'm just going to let this flow. And I will cry. Usually I cry. But this is for all of the people who have now seen me And they now know Cari has lost her mind. She thinks she's something special. And oh boy, they literally, my dearest friends, they think I am batshit crazy. And I love it because that is where they can't look another step further beyond this reality. And the reality is, I'll share the story of how I got here. It's all coming out, it's all in my books. But I went from normal operating human 7.5 years ago. I was curious. I was wondering what is the purpose? What is calling me? I was called, I was pulled. I was like, where am I to go? So I walked away from so many friends, family friends, planning parties, planning events. I was the event planner extraordinaire. Everybody came to my events because I was good at it. And then I felt icky. I felt these relationships. It was like, who is that woman that came and made me feel icky? And I just kept fighting and arguing for my limitations to stay stuck in the relationships where I felt I wanted to stay because I had friends, damn it, and I never had friends before. So I would stay stuck until I could not take it anymore. And that was the moment. That was one of the first moments I was told, walk away. I walked away from an entire town of relationships. My family was devastated, but I had to do it because something was pulling at me. And the woman that showed up to push my buttons and push my buttons and push my buttons until I finally walked away, we planned it. She knew. She played the role of Stacy in this life, but on the other side, we're all sparks of the same star. That's a lot to say. Sparks of the same star sitting around the planning table. And when I get stuck in this group, Stacy, you make sure you come and you make me feel so icky that I got to get out of there. Oh, she did. She did. She poked and poked and poked. And it took a long time because I was literally peeing on my territory. I'm not going anywhere. But once I left that group of friends, I was advanced enough in my openness to start walking and not meditating. I couldn't sit still. So I started walking quietly. And then I started pushing out thought. I'm like, I'm going to walk with no thought. And so I would walk a mile, let all the thoughts go. And I would always have this on as a recorder. And then I would let the thoughts go. And then I would be silent as I walked. And then I would really start to notice plants and things. It was beautiful. It was magical. And then after a mile, I'm like, okay, no thought. And then ideas, thoughts, magic started coming through. The more I walked, the more I was open. The more I walked. One day I walked 13 miles way far away and my hips started hurting. I was getting hip dysplasia because I couldn't stop walking because it was magical. The more I walked, I was like a hamster on a wheel getting thought that wasn't mine, getting inspiration from something else. That was where this all started. I walked away from friends, relationships, drama, things that you get involved in mentally. And then I went to the forest. I got quiet and I walked. So I did that. Have you done that? That was my first step. And then I ran into a woman because I follow guidance. I was nudged and nudged and nudged. This woman and I finally connected. We talked. She suggested a book. That book was the first book that I read. That became the first piece of bread on my breadcrumb trail. That book was my awakening. That book cracked open Pandora's box. And when that baby's open, you cannot close that up. It was like all these spirit starts rushing through. When you crack the egg to your awakening, you can't deny knowing anymore. You can't deny because stuff starts coming through. And all the stuff you believed, all the programming from your years on this planet, that goes away. And the reason people like me are here, and I'm here to help the masters move beyond, is because you are stuck in beliefs that you were trained on your entire life. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just they're not true. You were taught you need to eat this, you need to wear this, you need to marry that, you need to do that, you need to work there, you need all these things. So to the way the family did it. And then the other family from the in-laws, they thought you did it this way, this way, this way. So you take their world, this world, you put it together in one big oatmeal and you pick out the flakes and you're like, but they will constantly tell you the way you're supposed to go. They will keep reminding you what you are supposed to do. Never, ever worry about that. That was my life. I was in this life, my mom was married 5 times. We were, for the first 4 husbands, torture, abuse, sexual abuse, you name it, it happened. I would not have traded it for the world, because if I didn't have that backstory, I wouldn't be where I am. We plan these horrible, horrible things to be the things we need to go through so we can get through the story. What did I learn from that experience being abused? Am I going to take that with me and make that be my mountain and wave that at everybody and put a flag on it? Yeah, that's what y'all do. Not me. That story, the child abuse story, all of the garbage that I carried with me to my early 30s. There is so much you don't know that I want to share, and it's going to be magical. Your entire life can be absolute magic, because my life wasn't working. I walked away from the friends. I was not happily married. I stayed in the relationship because I promised my child, in my human way, that because my mother moved us so many times, 26 moves by the time I was even in 6th grade, 5 dads. Daddy number 5 was wonderful, but I was already in what, 5th grade by then. Daddy number 4 was a disaster. Well, he was my real father as well. He was daddy number 1 revisited. My life is fun. It's all in the books. I try and figure it out. So daddy number 4 is, she's married to him, and then she shoots him, paralyzes him from the waist down. We have to run. Long story short, she marries another man really fast. I don't know if she ever got divorced. And then we have a decent life. But of course, all that horrible crap that we took with us, it affected me and my 2 sisters. We all went through hell, but it's what you do with your hell that matters. I had so many horrible compartments from all the abuse, the torture. At 3 years old, I'm held out of a helicopter over Hoover Dam. He's pretending to drop me. It's like, I've never been in a helicopter since. I did have fear of flying or landing in airplanes, but it's like, I wouldn't have any fears now. I would not allow anything that happened to me yesterday to instill a fear in me today. So everything that happened to me in my childhood, in my 30s, after I left my first husband and I pulled up my bootstraps and I saw my strength, I saw that I could do stuff that I didn't think I could do. A lot of stories. I'm not going to bore you. It's not bore you with it now. There's so much to it. There's so many stories you need to hear about how I went to that step, and that step pulled me to the next step where you don't have to do the work. You don't have to do work. This is all so absolutely easy. I've said it a million times, and this time I'm standing true, because all you need to do is make different choices. You know how you feel about everything, especially the ascended masters, because if you are ascended and if you are without thought, if you live in the present, you are here. You are here. But if you have any thought in your head, you're not like me, because I don't have thought. This head has been empty with zero thought for years. My ex-husband has been notified. I have been on his insurance, and we were legally separated. I was on his taxes. I was on his insurance. It was very win-win. But now he says, you need to get your insurance. You need to make that call. Here it is. He gave me the link and everything. And trying to explain to him how somebody at my space exists. If I believed I needed insurance, that's almost that's a complete oxymoron for me. If I believed I needed it, then that would mean I would be sinking into a human thought that I need to do something to protect myself because something had happened. I could get hurt or injured. But I know better. If I took those action steps, it sucks me back down into human. And I've used this chart many times. I'm going to use it more. I have been on this top line for a very long time. That's all I remember. But when I was down in here, all those other places where people come from, yes, of course I would have had insurance, because I would have thought, well, what if I don't have it? His words even, you could lose your house if I believed it. But I know better. I am of the mindset, since I have been brought here, and I have been alone in ways you could not possibly imagine for a very long time. The reason I can do what I do, and the reason I don't think, the reason I have no thought in my head, is because I have removed myself from the planet When I moved to the Oregon coast in March of 2021, I was moved there to make one of the final steps. And then I was moved to Newport because that's where I went to meet what I call God. Why do I call it God? I know a lot of people are bothered by that word because I certainly was for a very long time. Growing up, we never went to church. 5 dads, not one of them was one that went to church. Not surprising. So we had no exposure to religion. We did have a beautiful gold Bible on the table that we dusted, but looking at it, I'm not reading that. I couldn't read that. So we had no God, no religion in our life. God was an out there concept to me. During this 7 years for me, I would call this thing that was going on with me, to me, around me, source, the universe, higher power, higher self, whatever you want to call it. The word God would not cross my lips. That was until I had a conversation with God directly through one of my friends, and God told me I needed to stop using that word overwhelm, which I used abundantly because I was sitting there looking at the table in the house in Puyallup, and I was like, kids. I was just told opportunity. Boom, just like that. Reprogram. So overwhelm is opportunity. I don't do overwhelm. That was my first conversation, but that was through a friend. When I moved to Newport, went down to the beach. That's when I met God directly, and I have met God head on ever since. And the reason I call it God is because there was no such thing as God in my universe. So when I'm having this conversation with something that was so beyond anything I could ever comprehend in my reality, and then I'm having this conversation, since human words are so hard to come by, God is the only word I can come up with. So it doesn't matter what you call it because it's just a word. So if you're offended or affected by words, you need to figure out why, because you're being triggered for something else. And you got to figure out all your triggers. That's why you come to this planet. So I moved to Newport to make the connection to God. After I connected to God and I began channeling, which happened, I started automatic writing when I was in Washington, and then I became a channel. I dictate, I get it through my writing, it comes through me. It comes through me for other people. I get a message for somebody who just died. I get a message for people. And what I do, I take that message, I immediately send it to you, Ronnie. I immediately send it to you, and then I'm done. Stuff is going on in your life. You're asking and praying for help. There are people on this planet who hear, and we are told, tell this person that. We don't know what's going on. We don't want to know. We don't give a flying rip. We really don't. We just know that we are told something. And without fail, when I get something, I give it to you. So if you get a message from me, Katie, I mean, it's funny. Some people I just randomly told to send messages to. And very often it's about somebody who's going to die, who has died, something you want to know from the other side. So I have become a channel. I am connected to source, God, whatever you want to call it. So much of what I write, most of my writing has been channeled. A lot of this stuff is coming out now in book number 4, and it's going to be the stuff that is going to rock this planet because it came through me and it's so powerful, even I can't look at it. So I will have people there with me. They're being assembled now to help me go through this material that has come through me because I shut up and I said, okay, talk to me. I will listen. I will be a receiver. And so I have so much material that has come through. The first book is going to be done. Once I am done making this video today, not sure how much of this I'm supposed to put on it. There's a whole bunch in front of me I'm supposed to share, and this room is still a mess. I'm not moved in yet. But after this, I am to shut the world out. Everybody's already been told I can't talk. I cannot communicate. I never talk on the phone. Never call me. I won't talk. But I am being shut away in my beautiful Mount Shasta home so the book can be finished because this has to start now. I don't know what is happening, but I know big things are coming. And that's why I am being told to grab these people who I know and tell them, and I'm not going to go to them personally. They all know who they are. They all know who they are. They already know very well who they are, that they need to follow me. They need to listen to what I say. I have been told I am an authority on life. And I know that's too big of words for many of you, but you know what? That's what I'm told. And if I believe what I'm told, like you should believe what you're told, but not by people, by your higher self. In Newport, after I made the connection to God, and you need to really try and imagine my scenario, because you guys don't live like this. I live in a house where I don't talk to the people in the front yard. I can't be around people. I'm alone inside. I'm not on my phone. I have no notifications on my phone. I have no badges on my phone. I don't see if you contacted me. There's nothing on there. If I go to send a text message, can't see it there. It's like there's no numbers. If I want to send a text or look if somebody's texted, then I touch text and it shows that, oh, I have messages. I am not inundated by technology whatsoever. I live completely alone and I'm completely silent. And my brain is off. It's off completely. When your brain is off and you're staring at the ocean and you're silent, this is what I do. When something comes in, you know to do it. This is all I do every day. Some days I put music on. I'm told when, and then frequently there's a message in there. A song comes through with a message. I'm always getting messages. I am completely an open receptacle anymore. I shut the fuck up. I stopped listening to everybody else because my life was not working. I was in a marriage that was unhappy. We had fun. We did stuff, but we weren't. It's like you think you're in love, but that's not what it's about. You're together because you're both broken and you're patching parts of yourself. The only way that you can find your way to this space where I am is you need to be alone. You'll never get there in a partnership, because with a partner, there are two arrows floating down the highway. And I can promise you they are not going the same direction. So somebody's arrow is more or less getting followed and the other one is more or less not at all. So all I've done since I walked away, my ex and we separated. I went to live on my own. Finally, when I got my house, the in-between was a long process. That's when my second book that I called Homeless with a Dead Boyfriend was written, about the man that I met in Sedona when Sedona changed my life. We knew we were no longer going to be together, but I had to find my home. I got to Newport. I met God. And then right after my God meeting, the next 3 days, I was sent out on 3 little mini missions. Each one, I would go somewhere, do something, shipped a package, went to the drugstore, and a miracle happened. I touched somebody's life by my words. And then I would go home. They were completely forever changed. And I was happy, but I did not know that I was really put in training for 3 days. I had 3 days, 3 lessons. I went out and executed. After that, I started receiving my clients, the people that were praying, asking for guidance and help. I started meeting them. I met everybody at one location. It was kind of magical. I had one office, a place I went to sing, and that's where I met all my clients. One man was dying when I met him. He's not dying now. I met 3 people who were dying, and they're not dying. So many people, I just had to be there with my energy, and they felt my energy. Some without words would come up and give me a big hug and say, I missed you so much. And we never even had a conversation before, because when I was gone, the energy shifted. When I came back, the energy was elevated. When you let go of all of your stories, all of the icky stuff that happened to you, and you no longer live from, oh, you done that, or what, you hurt me, or it's like when you live from everything is monopoly money and none of this is real, you have the vibration that can rock a planet. The whole goal is to get to the top vibration. And that's why I love this chart, because they put a number system to it. It gives you just some kind of an idea, because I needed something to give me like, why am I so wonky and different? It's like, it's just it's vibration. It's all levels. It's like, you could be on the bottom floor and feel like you don't deserve to live in the top floor, or you just say, I deserve to live there. You just keep going on up. It's your vibration is where you keep yourself. How you feel is your vibration. That's it. How you feel is your vibration. So many charts have come through me, many things. I was told to post this recently, and I post this stuff proudly because it's true. If you can't read it, it says, yeah, you're all wrong. Because you guys think that you're supposed to watch TV, read the label, do what your mom said, follow their plan, when I know, because I did the alternative plan. My life wasn't working, so I shut the fuck up and I went inside and I got quiet. I got quiet, so nobody was telling me how many meals I needed a day or what kind of food you should eat, what's good for you, what's bad for you. Nobody told me where I can go, can't go, or what. When I started saying no to the things I always said yes to in my marriage, that's when our marriage went downhill, because I was not honoring myself. I was saying yes. I was like, but I don't want it, but I went. When I started feeling, I don't want to go, and I said that, they'd be like, oh, we were both like, but I honored my needs. I said yes to me. I found this little thing that I didn't have most of my life called self-love. When you find a way to love yourself, that has to be the very first step you take. If you don't completely love yourself and trust yourself and know you can be alone with yourself for the rest of your life, you don't love yourself. You have to trust that you can be completely alone, and you have to do it. You have to be completely alone. I did it by choice. I think everybody should do it by choice, but I know you won't. You're going to argue why you can't do it and why you're a social creature and all those reasons. No, you didn't come here to be a social creature. You came here as me. We are all sparks. We are all little tiny twinkly lights. When you look up at the Milky Way, that's us. That's who we are. That's all we are. The ocean, all those little drips in there, that's us. We are all one. We come into these bodies with a full knowing of what our plan is, what we're going to execute. And we always have a story to get through, to get to the next story, to get through the next story. But you guys get stuck in stories. So you never get to the golden ticket. You never get to where you get the house of your dreams, the body of your dreams. My life is my complete dream manifest in the place of my dreams with the vibration beyond the stratosphere. And I am living the best life ever. I've never been happier. I do everything I want to do. I am so fulfilled. I've got the dearest friend next door who's a helper. My hot tub just got installed and I got to use it this morning for the first time, which is why all this is coming through, because water is a huge download for me. So I received just a ton this morning and I've written so much down. It's all coming out in books. This has to be said. For those people I've had to walk away from, there's many of you, I long time ago, May of 21, I told you all I was disappearing, and I did. There were people who needed to stay stuck to me, and I couldn't talk. It has become very clear. Everything is, the more conversations that I have, and the conversations that I have had to each one of you, and to Nagni, one of my dearest friends who passed, her and I had some of the most power-packed conversations, and not one thing has ever been recorded. She didn't record one thing, and the things she said, unbelievable. But I have been told I need to shut the fuck up and stop talking to anybody. And the last few have been unplugged for me recently, because my words are supposed to be recorded, and I have them going out to him, going out to her, going out to him. And so from now on, they have to go into one vessel. And that's why I am recording videos. I am doing blog posts, but it's all going to be in the book. The first book is going to be the overview of this journey. And it's going to take you through all of the stuff that just came through in the last few days, that just, a woman came here. I said yes to a woman coming here for a week, which I say yes to nobody, but it was somebody that we've been connected. She lives in Texas, and she said, I'm coming. And I said, okay. Really? I said, okay. We never know why. So this woman and I, she only came here. The reason she came here, the reason nobody else, there's a friend of mine, a guy who wants to come with me, and Scott, we're going to do it. You and I, you don't even need a week. We're going to get this turned around. But I can't be with people. I'm alone all the time. But when I say yes, that means we planned this. Her and I made an agreement that when it was time, she was going to step into my universe. And the way we thought it was going to be is I was going to rock her world. We had no idea. I just knew moving to Mount Shasta was going to be the biggest thing for me, because I already elevated to where I know who I am, and you could not understand it. You would not be able to. I am Charlie Brown's mom to everybody, and I'm okay with that. I'm speaking to the ascended masters right now. They can understand me. But she came here, and it was the most power packed 7 days I think I've ever had. And for her, she just was, I just kept telling her to be a tampon, be a tampon. And she was a tampon. I don't know how long it's going to take her to unfold, but she just literally absorbed, absorbed. So much channeling came through for her. So much came through. She witnessed miracle after miracle after miracle. And this whole time I'm thinking, oh, and I know, I mean, her world will never be the same. And I don't need to talk to her. It's like, we did what we needed to do. She's going to go live and do what she needs to do. I don't follow up. It's not my job. I just help. I'm there. If they have the nerve to need me, I'm there. Most of you don't. So she was here. And while she was here, one thing that was very interesting is I started developing right here this very dull, like, headache. I don't have any pain anywhere. I don't get hurt. I don't have disease. I'm healthy as can be. But I had this weird headache. It was like when you've had really like cheap wine too, it's just like that. Whoa, like you lean forward, just not sinus, because it was weird, but it went on for 4 days. So much came clear as she was leaving, after she left. That I was told something, that an ability I have never had during this lifetime was opening up for me. My third eye was opened up. The headache lasted 4 days and was gone. And so I'm going to be able to experience life at a whole new level now. I've been told I can visit all you guys and have conversations in person. One of the things that has been fun about this journey is many of my friends, most of them, leave their bodies for recreation. They go visit you, they do soul retrievals, they heal you, they travel to visit, they go to the center of the earth. But I've never been able to do that. I have visions, no problem. I've never been able to, or been interested. I don't care what, if I can leave the body or see the other side. I've never cared. But what's made it really fascinating for me is those of you who can see the other side and can leave your body, this is not real. And yet you still tend to believe that I can't be a human that can ascend to a place where I can help others because you know me. It's like, no, that can't make sense. I know you're just Cari. Yeah, I was just Cari. The way this has happened, when I was in Newport and I don't watch TV. At night, I'll put on a movie or something and that's it. And then I go to sleep. That's it. So I don't have anything on. I have no influence or inspiration from outside. I found out Roe v. Wade happened when I saw something on Facebook. I don't care. It's like, it doesn't affect me, but everything on the news affects you guys. By walking away from watching TV and seeing how people have to take sides and team up and think, if you don't care about this, you're buried your head in the sand, whatever. Like, no, actually, you guys all can get your heads out of the story. I walked away. So by doing that, your body becomes your temple and you listen to your body. Cari was silenced for a period when I'd say my spirit guides had to take over my body and maybe my higher self and run it through a scenario trying to help some people wake up. It was like I was put through the ringer, Cari the human, emotionally pushing, doing all kinds of things, while Cari the consciousness was kind of on vacation, there but not there, kind of not allowed to really do anything. And it was evident if you look at any of my videos during that period. I looked at them, and I mean, I'm leaving them because you people have seen them. There's comments. I didn't edit them. I'm like picking my nose, I'm drinking, I'm walking away. I'm like, oh my God. But I didn't use shampoo. It was like things that I know to do. They weren't getting done. So I was like able to peek in and start letting some things get done because come on, man, I want to at least be Cari. And I would just cry on my videos. I was just a hot mess, but I was delivering a message. So that's where it started. And that's when I realized I was no longer living life as a normal human. When I got through that phase and they closed that chapter, that was when My life was Cari the consciousness popped back. But what I have become is when you let go of all your beliefs as a human, when you know you can eat anything, because if you believe something is bad for you, it is, you realize you don't need to eat. You think you need to eat because you've been told for your entire life how many squares, how many snacks. We're overweight because we think we need to eat. I only eat when I'm hungry, and I'm barely hungry. The more physical I am, the more I'll eat. But the quantity that I eat now is virtually nothing. And it's because we don't need food. We believe we do. If I laid still all day, I wouldn't eat anything. There have been days when I would eat those little Costco peanut butter pretzels, when I would have 5 of those. You don't need food, but you believe you do. You believe you need all this stuff. You don't need it. You believe you need so much. We believe it because we have been told it. We've never dared to step out and live without it. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I recommend you start with your tiniest of little beliefs. You were told things by people who had experiences, or by somebody who's somebody that they knew had an experience. Therefore, don't ever do that because it's going to be bad for you. And you believe it. Unless you have the experience yourself, why would you believe anything? You are told at what age you need to do what, and no, nothing. The only thing your parents are supposed to do is, first of all, you had an agreement that they would be your parents, but then they're supposed to pop you out. And that's when you forget. That's when you come in like a clean slate, like, I get to find my arrow. I get to follow my arrow. And then you find out that daddy wants, mommy. Just a backstory, an excellent backstory about the woman that was here. Nobody will know who she is, but she has a child, and she is a light, enlightened, awakened. I mean, there were more times she would say something and I would say, if you believe it, boy, she's never going to believe things again. Oh boy, boom, 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 boom. She got it. She totally got it. At home, she has a partner who has anxieties and phobias and all kinds of things, and he doesn't finish things, and they're raising this child together. And so she wants to raise this child to be like me, like, follow your path. Where does it take you? All you do with a child like that is you keep them safe, you keep them fed, you make sure that, because they have a plan. They know what they're doing. They're not very verbal, but when you can find ways to communicate with them. The way I instructed her is she needs to look at this child and look at her mother and look at her partner and look at me and look at you and look at everybody, because close your eyes and realize that we all came here. We sat around the table with glowing, twinkly lights. We're all glowing, twinkly lights. So I said, to make it just easy to remember, I'm like, just look at her. Remember, she's a twinkly light. She is your equal. You had an agreement, and her name is Larry. We're all Larry. Mom is Larry. He is Larry. We are all Larry. We all have a big plumber's crack. We're all Larry. We've all been, every life we've done everything. We've been everything on the planet. Right now, this person is in the costume of your child while you're in the costume of the mother. And this one's in the costume of the dad who has anxieties. If they are all Larry, you talk to them as Larry. You don't talk to your little girl in a way she can understand it. You say, Larry. Use your own child's name. Even at 2, as a child, they can understand you. They don't need human language. The younger they are, the more they understand. So her job is just to keep that child not even safe, because the child might have a plan to not be safe and to get hurt. So just follow it. And we had the conversation. She talked a lot about she's going to be a little terrorist. I'm like, you have boundaries. Do you want a terrorist? So I'm like, talk to Larry about what you expect. In my house, this is how I like things to be. But it's like, I don't really care. If you want to be a terrorist in my house, maybe something's going to be discovered. So I've let go of anything that might be a thought that I care about. I mean, people come in here, rearrange things, and people are like, doesn't it bother you? If it matters to them, if that's something that bugs them, like, I don't care. I don't really care. It's like, I don't care. Carrying on. That's my name. By not having any stories that I'm left with, by shutting up. I have a hashtag. I'm pounding on this guy, STFU, shut the fuck up, because he can't stop thinking. And I never think. I really don't access my brain. My ex wants me to get insurance. I'm like, I couldn't do that if I tried. I would have to think, and I can't. I have an assistant on the way. that I know they're showing up when they're supposed to, and I'm going to be able to say, do it. Like these videos, I do this, and then I'm going to say, edit, send, hashtag, keyword. I don't want to deal with any of that. I can't. It's getting more and more distant from anything I can do. I'm supposed to just be talking and recording, and that's it, because I don't want to do the other stuff. I don't want to. I don't need to. Somebody else will do it. Okay, I've go. I've got a lot that I've written, pages, and I've got a lot that I've written, and I'm not sure how much I'm supposed to share, so I'm supposed to start with this. So Bob Marley, he's been a little bit in my journey. Some of the words that have come out of some of his songs, that song Jammin', I was told to listen to it this morning. And there's a line in, I looked at the lyrics, the truth I cannot hide. It's like this stuff comes through me. I'm being told I have to speak the truth at the expense of every person on this planet thinking I'm basically insane. And I don't care, because I was where you are. I've evolved to this. People have seen the evolution. I've been with all of you in different vibration levels, and you fall away because I've crossed your line in the sand. And now my ascended masters, I've crossed theirs. They can't believe that somebody can ascend to the next level above them, to become a leader, to pull them through, because that's beyond their comfort zone. They can't possibly believe it. So we're going to do some reading here. So the truth I cannot hide, to let you know, I hear only from the other side. Cari is here. I'm living the life of Cari, Cari's dream life. Literally, this house, every bit of it, the way it's laid out, it's like if I would have seen houses all my life and said that'd be ideal, it's like this is the house I live in. And everything about it, it's 4/10 of an acre, but it's big enough to have my own space. Everything is immaculate. I've got my hot tub, which is now working. It's immaculate. And like my body, my entire life, I thought about weight. I thought about weight. I thought you had to eat so much. When you stop thinking and you know you can eat anything, and all I eat is comfort food because I want to enjoy what I do eat, because I eat so little, very little. I'm talking pickle. I get a child's meal and it's 3 meals for me. Okay. And I can't finish it. And they're usually garbage. The little cupboard in there, just so many things are magical. Everything is magical in my life. I know nothing bad can ever happen to me because I'm here on a mission. I'm here to do these things, and to think just by saying yes to my life sucks, so show me the way, that I have to share. I'm supposed to share this. The way to get here. This is the simplest thing. It's how to get here. And this is the thing you guys can't do. And this is what I did when I said my life isn't working. I am not going to do or plan anything. I'm going to stand here quietly because I can't sit. And I'm going to shut the fuck up. And when you shut up, not on this, not watching television, not getting involved in what's going on the planet, not getting lost in your head with a to-do list. I don't have a list. I listen for what I'm supposed to do. That's it. I am silent. Oh, then I do. Then silent. Oh, and then I do. When you do, when you take that step, the thing that appears before you is like, oh, and then you're like, instead of making a decision, then it's now what? And then you go. What you guys do, I've got a blog post with a big graphic that I made. I don't know where my graphic is, but basically what it shows is this huge mountain, which is your life. And it shows us. And it shows you planning. It shows you making plans. The 401k, the retirement. Do I stay in this house? Where will my kid go to school? Who am I going to marry? All these things you're going to plan. You got to plan. You have to do things by a certain date. Sound familiar? All of these things that you're planning is keeping you away from the thought that will tell you where you need to go. And when there's 2 of you, that's why I don't know how you do it. So here's the difference. You are thinking, it's like when I was thinking, it's like, oh my God. It's like, I would plan it all. And I'm not a huge planner. I mean, I think I knew innately a lot. I know I knew, but you go this way. You're like doing these big switchbacks. We're going to take this vacation here. We're going to go here. We're going to go there. 5 weeks later, I'm going to take this job, and it's going to, in 5-year plan, I'm going to be doing this. You back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You never, ever take the time to be quiet Because when you do, and you are super silent and you just like, all right, I'm just going to just chill for a minute with no music and no phone. Yeah, you can't do that. It's like when you just do that, and you don't have to meditate, you just sit quietly for a minute, listen to the air conditioner, and then be quiet and just, why would I do that? But do it. Do it. When I was told, go get paint and canvas in October of 2019, I went to Michael's and I got a ton of paint and canvas and paint brushes, because you have to have paint brushes, right? No, it said paint and canvas. So I come back, I put it on the table, and then the person who was just here sent me a text message saying, look what my mom's doing. Pour painting, fluid art. Oh, the answer comes. The answer comes. My dear departed friend Tenagny. Part of the reason I went to Sedona was her stories. One of her stories was she hiked up with Latal to the top of this rock. She was told, she always listened to every little bit of guidance she got. She was told, that guy over there, sit down and hold his hand. So Tenagny being Tenagny, doesn't come from here. She's like, all righty then. So she goes and sits down and grabs this guy's hand and said, I'm supposed to hold your hand. Meanwhile, Latala's like, what? So she goes and sits on the other side and sees this man is bawling, and she like holds him. She's holding his other hand. Like, so Tenagny's holding him for a few moments when she's told, you're done. So she's like, all right, see ya. And she takes off. Meanwhile, Latal is like, so Tenagny follows her guidance, and that's all she had to do. Clearly, she didn't have a next step with this guy. But when you follow the guidance, it takes you there, and maybe somebody prayed for that. And I want you, this is the thing that kills me about humanity. I'm going to ask you a question. If you were on top of a mountain and there was 30 people, with friends or without friends, probably with friends, I know the answer for sure. Without friends, that'd be really questionable. If your head said, that big ugly man over there, go give him a hug, would you do it? You wouldn't. Very few of you would. That's the difference. That's one of the differences. I have so much to read, and I'm probably covering most of it. So who I am now, somebody who believes that if she's hungry, she will eat, and she'll eat what she wants. There are times, and the way I identify it, and I've told the two friends, is when I think I'll get food is when it feels like my stomach walls are like touching, then I'll be like, it's just like a feeling of I need to put something in there. It's not a big deal. I don't need nutrients, because if I thought I did, I would. You don't need anything. You don't need anything, because all of this is a creation. It's a digital matrix. It's a bunch of little atoms all put together to create mass that we want. We create our reality. And let me tell you, I have created a magnificent reality. I just can't even begin to tell you how magnificent it is. So now I'm trying to explain who I am now, because it's nothing like a human. The way it's shared with me is, I keep using the term skin bag, because that's all this is. This thing that I manifested, that I've turned into, like, I mean, I put on a bikini this morning to get my hot tub because it's daytime. And I'm like, I'm in a mirror. I'm like, oh my God, I've always wanted to be thin and have a great body. My sisters had great bodies their whole life, and I was not. Even when I had a great body, when I weighed 108 pounds, I was kind of really scrawny. I still saw a really fat girl in the mirror. I saw a big fat girl. It didn't matter. So now when I know who I am, and I know I'm just love, and I see my body, it's like every dream I've ever dreamed, I live. And when you have that as life, it's like, and I'm trying to tell you how to get here. I can't understand why you want to stay stuck. All you have to do is get out of the story that doesn't feel good. You know, there are so many places where you're plugged into that you don't want to be involved in, but you stay there. You're being pushed out of these places. If there's somebody that's egging you on, you begged them to do it, and you said, please don't stop until I get the message. You need to look at your life a little differently, because you don't need to stay and save people. That's not why we're here. You're here to follow your arrow. And the longer you don't do that, the more you're doing this, the more you're going to be repeating these lessons. We come back in multiple zillions, whatever, there's no numbers, of lifetimes, because we want to learn lessons as spirit. We want to understand how it feels to have somebody push us off a cliff. Why would we be pushed so hard to do that? We do both parts. We want to be the one who pushes in this lifetime, and then, no, I'm going to do it next time, Larry. In the next life, you push me off the cliff. We do this because the bodies may get banged up, but we don't hurt. We can leave our body anytime we want. We do. One of my friends was sexually abused and she was never in her body. She was watching. You still get screwed up. You still got to figure it out and get through that story. But all of these stories that we're living through, you're living through them with a barometer. The barometer is how you feel. If you ever shut up enough to feel how you feel and not do for others and just listen to you, you know the answers. You know every answer. It is right there before you. You know what you have to do. You know who you have to leave. You know the job you need to quit. You know you want to be doing something else for a living, but everybody tells you you can't. So that's why you don't. You're living somebody else's life. Why? And here's the biggest message behind that. We all came into this planet naked little babies going, what? Right? Some of us grow up, we just go to nature, we do our thing. Some of us are told, we better do this, you better do this, you better be this, you better be that, you better be all this. And so to do that, we need to puff ourselves up like we were born a power baby. We were born really powerful. So we're puffy when we do this. We get up and we can suck up all those little people that just went out to nature, just did other things, because we have this ego we need to feed, because we need you to follow us. We need you to protect us. But so the thing is, what I did that you aren't doing is when I went away and I shut up, you shut off the outside source. And then you go to the only one that can possibly know your plan. Possibly. Think about it. Your mother, your father, how can they have any idea what your plan is? You're all little sparks of the same star that went to the drawing table in my life. You're going to be this, you're going to do that, you're going to do that. And then we do this, and you are your individual essence. You are your spark of consciousness. You are just you. They are there to try and stop you from being what you came to be. And you said, okay. You've been saying, okay, even though it feels like shit. I'm sorry, guys, I have a potty mouth. No, I'm not sorry. You're letting them direct your traffic. And so you aren't going to get through this lesson in this lifetime because you're letting how they feel affect you. If every single one of us, every single human, every one of us just said, okay, for one day, we're going to all go in our own space, close the door, and not listen to anybody else. That big puffy one over there, we can't listen to them. They have to go in a room and be by themselves. Guess what kind of lessons they're going to come up with? We see who we are. And I'm not saying for one day, you just have to do it. If we all got pulled apart, you would shut up and you would say, okay, without any noise around you, just being quiet, go to you. And I'm not saying meditate. I don't tell anybody what to do. You don't need any spiritual currency. You don't need stuff. You just have you. You can be naked nowhere and do this. Just shut up, be quiet, and listen. If a thought comes in, just later, catch you later. And know you will. Send it away. Send it away. When you do this, you start hearing your next step. And they don't make sense. Like when I left my husband at the time, I was living in Olympia, close to work. I didn't leave him. I was told to live close to work. And then that was in February. In like March or something, or May, I got guidance to tell him we needed to go on a backpacking trip. And I'm like, that'd be fine. But I'm like, I don't like backpacking. I'll do day trips, day hikes. So anyway, I called him and I'm like, apparently you and I need to go on a backpacking trip. And I said, but I'm compromising. We're doing, but basically we're getting to the mountains together. You get this guidance and you listen to it. It makes no sense. I'm like, but I'm fine hiking with him. And he was happy to go hiking with me. You don't know why. We couldn't have known there was a pandemic around the corner, but we went hiking that summer just a few times. And it was a matter of 2 hikes. We were madly in love with each other, more than we'd ever been. It was like we were back in the mountains. There were no telephones other than pictures. It was so magical. It was all summer. So we were seeing each other the whole time. I was in Olympia working back and forth with the animals, spending the weeks there. It was magical being madly in love with my husband once again. So I gave up my apartment, my house. My daughter was coming home for spring break. We moved back into the house. We were all there at the same exact time on Friday. And on Tuesday, we were in lockdown. My life is magical. And this is why I'm trying to tell you, if you shut up, you hear. It's like, go on a hike with John. No. Yes, I did it. We fell in love. I discovered art painting, which is what I did during the entire pandemic. That's all I did was create art. And then my art was selling at the Laughing Crab Gallery in Florence, Oregon. It's like, I can't make this stuff up. My life is magic. It's constantly magic. When you feel good, you get your miracles, and then you feel good. You're so grateful to God, universe, whatever, that you keep getting more miracles. But I did witness with a woman that was here, and this was a lesson for her and a friend in Washington. The miracles show up in so many little ways. The Red Robin story. Remind me, I'll tell you someday. The French fries, it was amazing, amazing. But they show up in so many ways. But the ones that we had happen to us, the girl that was here and I, they happened. And then I'm like giddy and crying. She's looking at me. She goes, kind of, well, that happened. I'm like, look at it. I mean, every single one. We are conditioned as humans that you're living in the land of coincidences, not miracles. So when you start looking at it through a different lens, you start seeing the miracles. So she started seeing miracles happen. There were so many. And some things she questioned them, and I would remind her, she's like, oh my God. It's like when you see it's a miracle, it changes you. So I got quiet. I said yes to miracles. I just stopped trying, you guys. I surrendered. And the biggest thing is the story I shared with a friend of mine, a singer-songwriter that you're going to open for me one day, Melody. We were on a walk one day, and she likes to control her world. She needs to. It's like she's in a big business world of music. And so she has to control her universe. So she needed help to let go of control. So I did a little video about letting go of control. And it became such a thing, even for me and for so many people that I've talked to for you to do is, if when you let go, you stop doing this and making plans. You just can't plan. You just have to say, what's next? Just see yourself. You're in a canoe. You're sitting in a canoe and you're going in a river, and there's boulders. There's stuff up ahead, and you got those paddles. It's like, so for her and for everyone, I just say, from this moment forward, even though you think you need to control that, like, oh, something a friend of mine said recently that I just thought, man, you're so advanced. You keep stepping backwards. Is she's so advanced. And then she found out somebody in her family had an addiction. I'm like, that's their story. That's their parents' story. How's that your story? Keep moving. And it keeps pulling her back and pulling her back. So it's like, I can't be around. That's why I'm alone. I can't be around anybody ever, because when you hear these stories, it's like, it affects your energy. My currency is energy. That is all it is. When I'm sent out ever, it's because I've been called. My energy is never affected. I know when to go out, and I know I'm always home otherwise. So I can't be around people like to argue for their limitations anymore, because I am here to shine. I'm here to shine, and I'm here to turn those dang light bulbs on all these people that aren't shining. Man, you know who you guys are. So describing who I am, it's just trying to have you understand it, because I certainly can't, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to, because you look for words and there's no words. So by shutting up, by just following the path, listening to guidance, do what I'm told, staying in happiness, staying in miracles, and always expressing that, never thinking, never going backwards, my body transformed to basically, I'm in the fifth dimension. That chart I've gone through, there's plenty of stuff on the fifth dimension. When you go through your stories, you go through 4D soup I've got in there. You could pause it and zoom in if you want. But it's when you're in 3D, you just live. This is Earth. This is all it is. But then you start questioning, and then you want to go through some emotions, some, what you guys call this stuff, dark night of the soul, whatever. Like you dive in and you start going through hell. You go through experience, you go through feelings. But if you keep working, you keep working, you keep working, you keep working like I did, then you actually pop out on the other side. And that's what I did. And that's when I became this thing that I don't have sadness. I couldn't be sad if my life depended on it. You become somebody who is, I'm no longer, I call you humans because I'm no longer I'm not a normal operating human. Cari is still here, her essence, her life, her consciousness, but she lives directly through source. She doesn't have a brain. Well, she does. And she was forced activated about something the other day. She has contractors here constantly. So money, it was a password. She had to activate it. She goes to her brain, she clicks that open, does what she has to do, closes it. But that's where the assistant is going to be doing this stuff. I have no idea who you are. You know who you are, and you'll know when to walk through the door. When you get to the fifth dimension, you are still in your skin bag and you are living the life of your dreams because you create your reality. And why would you create something you don't want? And that's what you get to if you go all the way through your stories. You might do this millions of lives. You don't know, but you might get through it in this lifetime after you've heard this video. I don't know. After you've read my book, better chance. So you go all the way through your stories. You get to this space and you're silent. God, what am I going to do? And then you are then living from the other side. You are no longer living as human. You are living your complete heavenly existence, but you get to stay wrapped in your skin bag. And as long as I want, as long as I'm needed, I will stay here. I have no idea what my story is going to be or how long I need to be here, but all I know is at any time I can transition. I know this is not home and now that the third eye has been opened, I am under the belief, but I don't believe anything. What happens because I don't care. What is supposed to be. That now that I'm alone, I may be seeing the other side. Who knows? Who knows what that was open for? But guess what? I don't care. I find out when it happens. So I'm heaven. Heaven is inside of me because all I can come from, like from the other side, is a place of love. I know who we are. I know why we're here. I know you're trying to get through this step. And that's why, some of the stories I was put in front of in Newport, it's hard for people to wake up. I get that. But when you understand what you can get to by just realizing you feel icky, your life isn't working out, why not try? And people who when you kill yourself, you guys, you're just doing this again. When you get to the place where you want to take your life, literally fly to Rome, go somewhere different, and then I guarantee you're going to meet somebody that's going to change your path. If you off yourself, that is really just lazy and chicken, and you just mess up everybody's stories. So like everything has to be recalibrated. So just stay alive and find out where you're going because it's so much better. You feel icky, so just go do something different. That's all I'm saying. Don't stay stuck in a story. My sister died and we had a really tragic life, but we all were doing good. We were all strong. We were strong girls. We were pretty tough. We had to be scrappy. The fifth husband, it was like, her and I were living together. It was like, you're not going to meet another man. No dating. She was not going to date for a year. She had 2 kids. We were going to like single it out. And 3 months into it, I found out 3 months into it, she told me that she was seeing this guy, but she'd been seeing him at the bar she was working at. He was showing up. So I was like, so anyway, she married this guy and this was her lesson. And she had a choice to get in or move forward or whatever. She had to choose her way to happiness. She chose her way to worse and worse and worse and worse sadness and abuse. And something we didn't experience much of was emotional abuse. And that one took care of the emotional abuse. I had my emotional abuse guy too, but I left. I just realized that. Wow. No, I left. She didn't. And that's the difference. So she went further and further and further down. So she's got a lot of work to do, but she's going to come back. And she's going to go through the same cycles, same lessons she wants to learn. Once we learn the lesson, it's like we just come here. The only reason we come to this planet, guys, and you ascended masters all know this, we come here because We want to feel what it feels like to experience these feelings as human. Hitler, we all agreed to let this man come and annihilate people. Then people said, I'm going to be strong and I'm going to swim upstream. We agreed to it. You agreed to everything going on the planet now, but you choose your way through it. If you're climbing onto the big puffy guy, you just gave your power away. You need to find your power and find yourself. You need to go inside of you. Do not follow the puffy guy. The puffy guy how can they know better than you? When you shut the fuck up, you go inside, you get your answer. And it doesn't have to do with the puffy guy. It's your next step. And then follow it. And it's going to be weird. It's going to be like, I'm not doing that one. Then you're just delaying your game. Shut up, listen, follow. Oh, that's how it works. That's how it works. So one of the messages I got over the last few days that have just been powerful, and I don't even know if I've covered this. When that woman was here, I've gone all over the place. Her and I both were squirrels. We would get lost, but we always came back down. While she was here, what we didn't realize is, yes, she came here for her awakening, but neither one of us could have known that her coming here was that we agreed when we both got to this space in our life, we would come together and give each other a gift. That's all we do. When you meet somebody, when you're attracted to somebody, when you're drawn to somebody, it's not always love. You're there to meet them and find out why you give each other a gift. I gave her a gift and she gave me a gift. Before we were born, before we incarnated, we all meet and agree. She agreed to come to me when I was at that time in my life, when I was ready to receive it. And this would happen. The final level of ascension is where I am. And so from where I was wrapped in a skin bag, I just felt like heaven wrapped in a skin bag. And there's not one thing anybody can say to me that would affect me, make me sad, anything. You can't hurt me. Anything you want to say to me, anything you're yelling at this screen right now is, you might as well make this a mirror, because it's a line you can't cross. So I've had, oh, believe me, I love one guy so much. I won't even say his name. That he had a big mirror he had to look at when he was calling me a cunt, a slut, a whore, throwing all these names at me. And I'm just like, it's like, it can't affect me. First of all, because I'm heaven in a skin bag. But the fact that it's like it bounces off of me. And then when it does, it's like an arrow in their heart, because they get to see, because then he was so sad that he hurt me. It's like the pain that he felt from that. And this happened a couple times with us, but he had to have that happen to be where he is. Oh, he's a special soul. Yeah, that guy, he's going to do good things. He's going to do just fine. I think he may be one of the few miracles I've had. Most people can't do this, guys. Most people, they ask for my help and I get them there. They're at the place where they have to jump out of the airplane. They are there. They know they're jumping out of that airplane is going to change the ripple effect of their entire family and all of their history and all of their future, because everything happens all at once. They know they will be the pebble in the water. But you guys can't do it. It's like the last woman had 3 chances, and in doing so, she would have set 2 children free, but she couldn't do it. She has 2 grandsons that are going to be in captivity, and they will never even want to be near her, because the whole time they've been in captivity, she said yes to it. She agreed to it. She could have stopped it at any point. She's the grandmother, for God's sake. She has power. Anybody could have stopped it, but the grandmother was the one who was supposed to. So she didn't do it for 11 years. And now one of them aged out and got to be out of the captivity. And there's still one running for his life, I'm sure. But the grandmother, in not taking care of the grandkids and taking care of them, instead, it made it easier for her to take her big farm and turn it into a place for kids that were free. Magic Kingdom, walkie donkey trails, little bunny wunny trails, all these animals. It's amazing. But when I realized, once she brought me in to help her save these children, that, well, she had 3 times at the edge of the airplane, she couldn't do it. But So those kids know they're on their own, but they know they have me too. You guys know you have me forever. You can call me anytime. They're going to be the strongest people on the planet. They are me. So she couldn't do it. She was right there to where she knew all she needed to do was walk out her door and go to the car door and open it. And then everything else would be done for you. But she couldn't do it. And if she would have, her daughter, her son, the big woman, that person, everybody, it would it kind of is like you see it on TV, it's like a ripple wave of something. It's like everybody's kind of wakes up. Barbie, they have a wake up thing in Barbie where I was a nuclear physicist. You remember, she would have, everybody in her family would have remembered, but she couldn't do it. So the doing it thing, and this is the thing my book will explain in detail, but you've got to hear what I'm saying because this is so true. When you're sitting on the edge of the airplane, you've never jumped before and you're scared of heights. What's that feeling? How many diapers do you have on? Okay. Her standing at the precipice to go out and talk to her son. That's where she was. She had that fear. She was facing the memory of her ex-husband who was very controlling and very in her face and scared the living crap out of her. She thought she was going to have to go there and yell at that kid. But I kept saying, you need to whisper. And she was given the exact words. She couldn't do it. So she's on the edge of that airplane. If she would have jumped, obviously everything would have changed. The biggest message I'm trying to get to you as ascended masters and everybody else is whatever the line in the sand is that you guys can't cross, whatever it is that's holding you back, that thing you need to do, is you already know. You planned it. You planned to be on the other side of that line. You know you did, or you wouldn't be looking at it with icky feelings. So you know the line in the sand you need to cross. But you're scared to death to do it. It's that anticipation looking at the airplane. It's like, I can't. I'm going to leave a trail. That's gross. But what I am preaching, what you have to get out of this, if one of these people listening to this video gets all the keywords and hashtags, you're my assistant. If you, and you have to just make you guys can't do this. This is all you have to do. You don't have to jump. When you make the decision, when the body connects with the soul and you promise the soul, you agree to the soul that you're going to do it, it's done for you. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do the dirty work. So if that woman would have talked to herself while she was looking out the window for 20 minutes, if she would have talked to herself and said, okay, calm me down, take me to self. Okay, all I need to do is walk out there. He's my son. I gave birth to, whatever the messaging you have to give yourself. If I would have walked out there, if I go out there, then this is over. The kids are free. And she knows this stuff too. She knows it. So if she would have gone to herself for that second in that 20-minute window and said, I can do this, and she meant it, that's when you feel the angel wings wrap around you and it just lifts you to it. I can't explain this enough. I'm just pushing you to agree to cross over your comfort zone. Just say yes to something that you've been saying no to. Because just by saying yes to it, that I deserve better, you don't have to do the work. I'm supposed to tell you my story with my ex-husband. First husband, I've had two. I've had magnificent lessons because of these. So with the first one, he was emotionally abusive, and he was my knight in shining armor. He was where I needed at the time. And then I grew. I've always grown my whole life, just really fast. So I was with him 5.5 years, and he got to the point where he was constantly threatening me with divorce. Like, if you do this, we're getting divorced. We do that, get divorced. And I lived in fear. He would like get my purse and rip my stuff out, look for signs that I'm cheating. He just never thought women can't cheat. We have to cheat. That's our DNA. So I found 2 books. I read them. I had to hide them. He was building muscle. He was getting strong and building muscle because he wanted to be able to punch a man if he looked at me, because I was going to cheat if a man looked at me. God, man. And while he was doing that, I was in my bed reading self-help books. And after I read the books, the people, I was not alone, that other people had shitty lives. I felt, we all feel alone. You're not alone. Trust me. We all set up these amazing stories that we want to get through. So they're not shitty lives. They're wonderful stories. We're pretty inventive. So after reading the books, I made the plan with myself, the agreement with myself, which was a safe one. Cause I had a line in the sand that it wasn't today, but the next time he threatened me with divorce, I was going to leave. And I've had 2 of these experiences, are both in the book. I'll just share this one. But so we went out one night to karaoke. We went to a bar to meet his sister and her husband, which we never did because I cheat and I would get drunk and I'd cheat right in front of him. I swear, you guys, I was married to that. That's people like, no, you weren't. Yeah, I was. Yes, I was. I was a lost cause. I saw myself as fat at 108 pounds. Okay. So I got up and I sang a song. I hadn't sang in ages. And it was a blast. And then people loved it. I used to sing professionally, actually, a long time ago. And so anyway, it was so fun. I was like super high. And then people would put in request lists for songs for me to sing or do duets with them. And so I was getting up there all night. I was like, oh, I'm having fun. We left there that night. And of course, he's not going to say anything in front of his sister or her husband. And so we go home and I'm floating. And he said, "Hey, did you have a good time tonight?" I'm like, oh my God, it was so awesome. It was wonderful. And he said, good. Because if you ever sing in public again, we're getting guys, this is where I can't tell you enough. I had a line in the sand, connection to the divine, that when that trap was trapped, when it was flipped, that my story was over. Done. So that second that I knew what word was coming, I literally felt like angel wings wrapped around me and lifted me to heaven. And he was talking and I couldn't hear. And I'm like, I'm going to bed. And I floated to bed and I slept like a baby. He went off to work the next morning. I moved out. I didn't have to think that, oh my God, I have to leave now. The second the words came out, my soul knew what I had to do. So that thing that you're fearing doing, do it. Oh my God, you have no idea what's waiting on the other side. You have no idea. Well, I believe the whole bunch of stuff that I wrote in here, synchronicities, is all going to be the last chapter in the book. So there was one thing that I am to cover in here, because you people that get stuck on language. So the word came through. Like, I'm just being told what my role is, things that I, as a human, can take my human lens. And if a word or a song is given to me, I can translate it into something I understand. That's how this works. You get stuck on words. So the word that came through to me, amongst other things that I will not even share yet, was Messiah. And so, not knowing, I've never gone to church, I go Google it. And I see there's 2 definitions. One is the man in Jerusalem, blah, blah, blah. The other one is a leader of a particular group. And so I'm like, oh, that's what that means. I'm being pulled up to be a leader of a particular group. So people see this and they start talking more. And they're like, oh, we are judging somebody. There's no way there could be more than this. We've reached the highest rung. There's no possible way we're going to shoot her down. Feel like she's crazy. You guys, I don't care what you think. I am fearless. I live in a bubble. I live protected by the universe. I am here for a mission. I am here to fearlessly speak things people are scared to death to say. Most people can't understand a word I say, and it's because they're not supposed to. To them, I'm Charlie Brown's mother, because when people were speaking a language that I couldn't understand, I'd look at them, because I was judgmental back then, like, they religious, dude, or what? They're crazy. They're nuts. I mean, God, the things we do as humans. So if you're anywhere where you're in anger, desire, you're not finding my stuff. No, you're not finding my stuff. People who find my stuff are on a journey for self-help, self-discovery. And the girl who was just here, she just wanted to get sucked up through eternity, and she did. I can't imagine how long it's going to take her to find Mother Earth again, because she is not going to be grounded. She's got a lot of work ahead, but it's simple. She just has to visualize where she wants to be, and poof, she knows she's there. It's that simple. If anybody on the planet who thinks, oh, she's stepping up, she thinks she's the new Jesus, no, I am not stepping up to anything. I am doing what my higher self has led me to do, because I don't pay attention to what you're paying attention to. And I just get told words. They all go in my book. That I've been led down this path where I was brought to complete silence. I was brought to a land of miracles. Only beautiful things happen to me. By the way, only beautiful things happen to me. Title of my 4-book series. There are 4 seasons in the book. Only beautiful things happen to me. Wouldn't you love to have that as your story? I mean, seriously, only beautiful things happen to me. One of my mantras that I learned from Abraham Hicks early. Abraham Hicks was my gateway drug, literally listening to her short little audios and videos. It was like, you get this stuff, you get taught law of attraction, you get taught, you get understanding. And after that, it was just like, poof, I just exploded, and I just followed my path. I met one man, the first person on my journey, when I found a spiritual group, like spiritual people. We found ourselves and hid in the basement. Kidding. One of the first things that he said to me was, who are your teachers? And I'm like, me. It's like, I hadn't read anything. It was like, everything has come through. Everything has come through, So when you just listen, you hear your path. And when I was very young, I had I was clairvoyant. I remember 2 things I saw, because I could still see them clearly when I was little, premonitions that were disastrous for people. But once the abuse started and all that, I had no abilities whatsoever. And so those have returned, and now my third eye is being opened. And so I hear, it's like we all do. We all are 100% from the other side. None of us are really human. None of us stay here. This is our just bodies. Literally, it's like my book cover. I want somebody to design this. My friend has the visual, but it's like you're standing there, you're talking, you're holding a book, you're giving a speech, whatever, and then your body drops and you're still standing there, you're talking. And like she has this thing with like the body has a zipper on it, like a skin bag. Because that's all it is, guys. This is just something we are wearing for this lifetime. It's the part we came to play. Us from the other side, we slipped into this role and we became this character. You all have the same opportunity I do to find your way here by feeling. Turn off everything you're watching, because really, you're choosing that over this. That's the thing I can't even begin. When I would go for walks, when I started walking for miles and miles and miles at a time, and I saw all of your TVs are on all the time, I'm like, you'll never find your path. You'll never find your path because you're so full of noise in your face. So I believe I get to close this video. I have no idea how long it is. I'm not going to cut it up into parts. I'm not getting into fancy editing. I am going to cut out if I've walked away. But after this, I'm shutting down the castle. I'm out of pocket. I'm unavailable, unreachable, and I will be in a bubble. And I'm not really sure I'm not sure what else happening. What I think it is I'm going to be finishing my book, you guys. Again, I don't think so. It's the next obvious thing that I believe I'm doing, because I just feel it's going to be out there immediately. And I believe everything that just has gone on is the final chapter, because it's all written. I've written it all. It's all channeled through. Only beautiful things happen to me. And I don't know what's next. I can't. But I do what I'm told. I just sit quietly. I usually am gathering firewood and stacking firewood, but I do what I'm told. That's all I do. I do what I'm told, but not by anything outside of myself, ever. And all you do is you do what you're told by everyone outside of you. You'll never find your way home. We get to live from heaven while we're here. That's the only way I can describe it. There are no words. You live fully from heaven while you're still existing, and you're protected. You're in a God bubble because you have work to do. And I don't know what's coming, but I know a lot of people have an idea of what's coming. And that's why people like us are being needed and deployed. And that's why I've been literally 7 years, guys, sucked through this vacuum that, I mean, my life has been so fast. But I didn't finish that story. This is the final story. You're going down the river. You got your paddles. I didn't finish the story. You got your paddles. You're fighting the current. What I tell you to do is throw your paddles away in the water, lay back in your boat, close your eyes, and just breathe. Just breathe. That is fully surrender. Everyone that I've talked to about this, and we've chatted about it, and they tell me their story, every single one of you tell me you keep your paddles in the boat. You don't throw them out. I threw mine out. I fully surrendered. My life wasn't working. I felt icky. I was sick. I will never have illness again. I can live as long as I want. My life is my creation. What I want is mine. And I'm trying to tell you how to do this. So the books are coming out, but if you just start doing these just little things, just shut up, stop planning, take one step once you hear, that's it. Shut up, get away from people, stop planning anything, and listen. When you hear it, whatever it is, how weird it is, do it. When you do it, and do it immediately, the next thing opens up and you say, oh, that's all it is. That's all this is about. That's how I got to this space that I'm trying to tell you guys. It's really fun to get to, but you can't believe me. It's like, well, I'm here and I passed through all these relationships, guys. It's all vibration. I just visualize layers of this. I just visualize like the atmosphere layers. It's like I was here, I was on earth, and then I started not believing, dropping beliefs, and you just start going up. And when you do, you reach the other people who are at that level, and that you do. All these people that I was just with were way up here in the stratosphere, way up here. I gotta move my, it's like the people I was just with, people are in the stratosphere, you guys. I mean, learn from them, cling on to them. Look at the videos on my website. Look at the videos with Dan Erickson and Maria Elena Mexia. If you want to start changing your life right now, Dan Erickson and I, the conversation. He teaches you how to write the book of your life, starting with this moment right now. But I see these levels in the stratosphere, and I've always seen myself as just doing this. And my second husband, who I love dearly, we're always going to be good friends. He loves his life flatlined. He loves Kenny Chesney. He loves being in his boat, drinking Coors Light until when the mountain is blue. Loves his daughter, loves his life. And I came in, like when we met, I was at this vibration and he was at this one. We were at the intersection where we had to meet. We had to, because we had to have the child. We had to have our story. I stayed for 28 years with this man.